Emma broke up with me over a trivial matter that day. Her childhood friend, Lucas, had just returned from studying in the United States and was celebrating his birthday. Emma and her group of friends had planned a gathering to mark the occasion and welcome him back. She forgot to tell me about it. I'd already prepared a meal before she headed out, spending hours cooking her favorite soup. As she was changing her shoes in the hallway, I asked her to have some soup before leaving. "There's no time. I'm leaving now." She casually brushed me off. Just as she finished putting on her shoes and was about to step out, I called her name. She turned around, and the black marble wall behind her made her look fair and sweet, though her expression was distinctly impatient. I carried the soup over and gently held her wrist. "You woke up late, and your stomach is empty. You'll be drinking later, so have some soup first to settle it." She clicked her tongue in annoyance. "Can you stop micromanaging me? It's really irritating." With that, she waved her hand dismissively. I knew she probably didn't mean it maliciously, but I was already running a fever and feeling weak. So, when she waved, the bowl of soup slipped from my grasp and crashed onto the marble floor, splattering soup and shards everywhere. An awkward silence hung in the air. I shifted my gaze from the mess on the floor to her face, trying to stay calm. I even managed a slight smile as I asked, "Are you this impatient and eager today because Lucas is back? I heard he's single again." Before I got together with Emma, she had pursued Lucas openly and secretly for a long time. Later, when Lucas got a girlfriend, she accepted me out of heartbreak, and we'd been together for 5 years since then. This comment hit a nerve. Over the years, Lucas remained the most special person in her heart, and even mentioning his name seemed like sacrilege to her. Sure enough, she snapped. Her sweet features contorted with impatience, her brows furrowed tightly in anger. "Justin, what do you mean? Are you doubting me? Can you stop being so paranoid over every little thing? It's so annoying. If you have a problem, then let's break up." She often threatened to break up with me. It had become a go-to phrase for her. Breaking up wasn't a significant event for her, just a way to express her annoyance. Every time she said it, I tried to convince her to stay. But this time, after she finished speaking, I looked at her seriously for a long moment, then let out a soft laugh and said, "All right, Emma." Her expression showed a flicker of surprise, but she ignored me and turned to leave. She was in a hurry. She couldn't be late for Lucas's birthday party. Chapter 2. It didn't take long to pack my things. Emma never liked me encroaching on her space, so I didn't have many belongings at her place. After cleaning up the mess in the living room, I looked at the remaining soup and put it in the fridge. This was likely the last time I'd make soup for Emma. Once everything was in order, I opened WeChat, intending to say a proper goodbye. We'd been together for 5 years, after all. But then a mutual friend shared a video in our group chat. It was taken in a karaoke room, the colorful neon lights creating a lively atmosphere. There was Emma, singing "Today You Will Marry Me," with a guy I hadn't seen in a long time but knew well, Lucas. After getting together with Emma, I'd heard her friends casually mention that this song was a staple for Emma and Lucas whenever they went to karaoke. It wasn't that the song held any profound meaning. It was just that Lucas had always followed Emma around as a child, telling her he'd marry her when they grew up. So, the song became a running joke among their friends. I watched the video and decided not to send the message. I figured Emma didn't need my farewell. I pulled my suitcase, took one last look at the now empty, clean living room, and left. The mess that had caused our argument was gone, as if it had never happened. I thought I'd feel sad, considering our 5-year relationship. But when I got home, I was so exhausted that I fell asleep peacefully. Emma called me at 2 a.m. She must have had a lot to drink because her voice was louder than usual. "Justin, why didn't you come to pick me up?" she slurred. I was groggy from sleep and replied casually, "I'm sleeping. Let's talk tomorrow." As soon as I finished speaking, she hung up. Her call woke me up completely. I wondered why she'd called. After reuniting with her childhood friend, she should have been focused on seeing Lucas home safely. I didn't expect her to call and ask why I hadn't come to get her. But then I realized it was probably another bet with her friends. Chapter 3. When we first started dating, Emma went to a bar with friends. It was raining that day, and I didn't want to intrude on her time with them, so I waited for her in a bookstore across the street. I was worried about her getting home safely after drinking. As soon as she came out, I walked up to her with an umbrella and smiled. "Emma, let's go home." I always thought "we" and "home" were such warm words. Her friends teased her. Emma, how did you manage to get someone as devoted and gentle as Justin to be your boyfriend? There was no trickery involved. I was the one who had chased after her. But despite others' envy, she seemed annoyed at the time. Maybe I was too good to her, to the point where it lacked excitement or challenge. People can be perverse that way. She once asked me, Justin, don't you have a life of your own? I was extremely busy with work then. I'd just been invited to hold my own art exhibition. Besides creating art, I spent almost all my time and energy on her. I remember smiling at her and saying, "You are my life too." I thought that was my silent confession, but looking back, it must have been tiresome for her. Once, while waiting for her outside a bar, drawing and waiting to go home together, she came out and wasn't surprised to see me. She smiled, and her friends handed her 100 yuan each, saying, "You won the bet again." Emma had bet with them that I'd definitely come to pick her up. She probably lost the bet this time, which is why she angrily called me. I got out of bed to get a glass of water. Just as I finished drinking, Emma called again. There were several missed calls. When I answered, I was a bit taken aback and asked, "What's up?" She paused, then asked emotionlessly, "Justin, I'm back. Where are your things?" She'd noticed I'd cleared out my belongings. I thought it would take her longer to realize. I patiently reminded her, "Emma, you forgot we broke up 7 hours ago. You said it, and I agreed." She was silent on the other end. Just when I thought the call had dropped, she suddenly snapped, "Fine, but don't come crawling back and begging me to get back together." Chapter 4. Emma doesn't understand that I won't get back together with her. It's strange. In the 5 years we were together, I never once felt disappointed or tired of the relationship, nor did I ever consider leaving. But now that I've walked away, I don't feel sad either. My brother once said my love for Emma was like the money in her bank account. He was sitting on the sofa, legs crossed, munching on chips, looking like he had all the answers. "Justin, your love for Emma is like the money in her bank account. She kept overdrawing it without making any deposits, so now the account is in the red." It's an interesting metaphor. My love for Emma is indeed depleted. My brother asked me what I planned to do next. I shrugged and said, "Work." I'd already arranged the venue and funding for my personal themed art exhibition. I was going to spend about a year traveling to different countries, capturing the most beautiful scenes with my brush. The first stop was the Wine River in Spain. This river, sourced from areas rich in pyrite and copper, has a color similar to red wine. I wanted to see if I could use the river water as paint for my artwork. Just thinking about it excited me. Before I left, my brother said, "Seeing you like this, I'm relieved. I was worried you'd be heartbroken seeing Emma's posts on Moments." I had seen them. Emma wasn't someone who liked posting on social media. In the 5 years we were together, she'd only posted a few updates. But these past few days, her moments were filled with activity, like it was New Year's. There were photos of her and Lucas visiting various scenic spots in City A and enjoying different cuisines. I could understand her excitement about Lucas's return, but the frequency of her posts made me wonder if she was doing it on purpose to make me jealous. However, I quickly dismissed that thought. I swiped up on my phone screen and smiled. My brother admired me, saying, "As expected of you. You've taken devotion and ruthlessness to the extreme." Devotion is my greatest respect for a relationship, and ruthlessness is my respect for myself. In the taxi on the way back, I saw another post from Emma. She had taken Lucas to the zoo and posted a selfie with an alpaca. I exited Moments and decided to change my profile picture. My previous profile picture was taken by Emma on our 1-year anniversary. We went on a trip, and while I was eating the ice cream she'd grown tired of, I accidentally walked into her shot of the scenery. Emma had frowned at the photo, wanting to delete it, but I loved it, so I used it as my profile picture for 5 years. Now, I changed it to a photo of my newly adopted cat. Chapter 5. I received a message from Emma before boarding the plane. It was 14 days after our breakup. She sent me a question mark followed by, "You changed your profile picture." It was a simple statement. Although I couldn't see her expression, I could imagine her frowning at her phone, looking displeased. I thought for a moment, then turned off my phone without replying and boarded the plane to Spain. I had a wonderful month at the Wine River in Spain. I turned off my phone, distancing myself from social media and other distractions, and focused solely on my creations. That's when I met an interesting person named Ava. When we first met, I was in the river collecting mud, my material for painting. Suddenly, she grabbed me from behind, wrapping her arms around my waist. I thought I was being attacked. Despite the initial panic, I quickly smeared the mud in my hands on her face. Her face was covered in red mud, her eyes tightly shut, but she held me firmly and said, "It will all be over soon. You have a long lifetime ahead." She thought I was trying to drown myself. I stopped struggling, and as my nerves relaxed, I found the situation quite amusing. I patted her hands on my waist and told her I was just collecting mud. That's how we met. Not knowing each other at first, and with her face covered in mud, I guided her to the nearest clean water source to wash up. Once her face was clean, her bright and cheerful features were revealed. She turned out to be from the same country as me. Meeting a fellow traveler in a foreign land is always a pleasant surprise. After everything was sorted out, I felt a bit guilty and apologized. She was very laid back and didn't get angry. Her smile was bright and carefree, that of a very sunny girl. She gave me a thumbs up, praising my alertness and quick reactions. She said she was on her way to a beach vacation in southern Spain, passing through the province on the A461 road. When she saw me in the river, she thought I was in danger and rushed to save me, almost blinding herself in the process. After hearing about my creative concept, she was intrigued. She was a curious person and decided to change her plans and stay to see if I could create paint using the river water and mud to capture the local scenery. I readily agreed. She was very respectful and maintained a proper social distance, so interacting with her was comfortable. For example, she never disturbed me when I was focused on work. Sometimes, when I worked day and night without a break, she'd have the waiter bring food to my door, knocking lightly 3 times, and then leaving me be. Chapter 6. When I finally emerged from my room, more than half a month had passed. The innkeeper's son was flirting with Ava, and it seemed the locals all adored her. She gracefully declined his advances, then looked over at me, giving me a once-over before smiling and saying, "When your artwork is exhibited, no one will believe what the artist went through to create it." I laughed. I was covered in paint and mud, looking like I'd just been dug out of the ground, but I had just completed my proudest work, so I didn't mind her teasing. I looked up at her, smiling excitedly. "Weren't you curious? Now's the time to satisfy that curiosity." She looked at me, slightly stunned for a moment. Then I took her to my studio. A 2-meter-long painting perfectly replicated the scenery along the Wine River. Her eyes widened in amazement and surprise as she entered, which filled me with pride. She admired the painting for a while, then turned to me and said seriously, "It is my honor to be the first to see this masterpiece." After that, I treated her to a meal to thank her for her thoughtful care over the past few days. 3 days later, we parted ways. We were both spontaneous people and didn't even exchange contact information. To us, each other was just someone who added a bit of excitement to our journey. She continued with her travel plans after satisfying her curiosity, while I prepared to stay a few more days before heading home. Unexpectedly, we met again on the flight back in first class. When I saw her, I thought I was mistaken because she had said she'd stay for another half-month. Ava also looked surprised, then shrugged helplessly. There was a crisis at the company. I have to go back and sort it out. I couldn't help but smile. We landed in Beijing at 2 a.m. Ava's driver was waiting outside the airport. She enthusiastically asked, "If you don't mind, I can give you a ride home first." I didn't have my car, so I thought about it and accepted, thanking her. The car stopped outside my apartment building. I got out and thanked Ava. Since I had a lot of luggage, she kindly got out and asked if I needed help. I smiled. "I can't let a lady carry my things." She smiled back. Suddenly, someone called my name from the shadows near the flower bed. "Justin." Chapter 7. It was Emma. Her tone was unreadable. I turned around and saw her step out of the shadows into the light. She'd lost a significant amount of weight over the past month. She glanced at Ava, then back at me and sneered. "So, the reason you broke up with me was that you cheated." I tried to stay calm, first thanking and saying goodbye to Ava. Although she was just an acquaintance, I was grateful for her care. She considerately asked if I needed assistance when she saw Emma, but I shook my head, and she left gracefully, giving me space to deal with the situation. Emma's gaze was intense, almost menacing, like a cornered animal trying to hide its fear with aggression. "Did you break up with me because you fell for someone else?" she demanded. I felt an overwhelming sense of weariness. Over the years, I'd always catered to her emotions. She was polite and reserved with others, but always bossy with me. I was exhausted by it. Still, I tried to keep my composure and explained patiently. Emma, you were the one who broke up with me. Ava and I are just strangers who met by chance in Spain. You can't keep doing this. I paused, struggling to find the right words. My tone must have surprised her because she looked stunned, a flash of hurt crossing her eyes. After a long silence, she spoke softly, probably for the first time in our 5-year relationship. I heard from your friend that you were coming back tonight. I've been waiting since 6 p.m. Justin, you didn't reply to my WeChat messages. She paused. In the month we've been apart, did you ever think about me? I didn't expect her to ask that and was momentarily taken aback. But when I thought back over the past month, all I felt was satisfaction with my work. Not once, not even for a moment, had I thought about Emma. I could only remain silent. She stared at me under the streetlight, trying to read my thoughts from my expression. After a long moment, she suddenly smiled bitterly. I don't believe you. Chapter 8. Emma's confidence that I was lying was palpable. I had liked her for so long that I couldn't remember what had initially drawn me to her. It felt like my feelings for her had gradually faded over the years, and the subsequent care and accommodation were just out of habit, the lingering warmth from loving her for so long. I knew she'd always liked Lucas. She was heartbroken the night Lucas went abroad with a teacher from their school. I don't know if young love is always so bold and fearless, but that night, she chased after him to the airport alone and watched as Lucas held the teacher's hand, laughing as they walked through the boarding gate. She sat at the airport until nightfall, the bright neon lights highlighting her sadness. After a long time, she stood up and walked out of the airport. I had been following her, worried about her. She lashed out at me. Are you following me to laugh at me? Leave me alone. I stood about 50 meters behind her and quietly said, I'm just worried about you. That night, she walked back to the dormitory from the airport, a journey of over 10 kilometers that took her all night. It was probably the most miserable night of her life, and I silently walked with her the entire time. In the morning, when she reached the dormitory, she suddenly turned around and asked me, Do you really like me? Then let's be together. I was stunned for a moment, then I laughed. We'd been together ever since, for 5 years. My friends used to call me a hopeless romantic, but I was just someone who followed his heart. Life is short, and I wanted to pursue what I desired. When Emma asked me if I wanted to be together, I asked myself 4 questions in those few seconds. Do you know Emma likes someone else? Yes. Do you know Emma doesn't like you? Yes. Will you regret it if you reject Emma? Yes. Do you want to be with her? Yes. The answers were clear. It's like they say, a forced love may not be sweet, but how would you know without trying? I was rational and knew exactly what I was doing when we got together 5 years ago, and I remained the same as we broke up 5 years later. I got what I wanted, and compared to those who never get to be with the person they like, I wasn't sure if I was lucky or not. At least, I could let go when it was time, and I had truly let go of Emma. Chapter 9. Emma still stood in front of me, her small figure almost completely enveloped by the shadow of the streetlight. She looked up at me, as if trying to detect any sign of false sorrow on my face. I don't know why, but I suddenly asked, Emma, do you remember the first time you broke up with me? She seemed taken aback by the question and froze for a moment. The first time she broke up with me was around 3 months into our relationship. She did it over WeChat and then promptly forgot about it, going on a 7-day trip to Tibet with her friends. When she came back, I was waiting for her outside her dormitory. It was raining, and I was soaking wet and running a fever. When she saw me, she was startled. What are you doing here? She asked. I was quite sad at that moment, but I still managed to smile. She probably softened because she had already given up on Lucas, so it didn't really matter who she was with, and we got back together. I asked her, Emma, when we broke up and you went to Tibet, did you ever think of me, even for a second? I sighed and said, I felt the same way as you did back then. Her expression darkened at my words. She took a few steps back, then turned and left. In her eyes, coming to find me tonight was already a huge concession, a show of respect. The fact that I didn't respond in kind probably felt like a slap in the face. She had every right to be angry. When my friend found out that Emma had come to see me, he was surprised. Could it be that Miss Emma realized after losing you that she actually likes you deeply? He speculated. I just smiled without saying anything. It wasn't that she liked me. It was more likely her possessiveness kicking in. The boyfriend who had always revolved around her, after the breakup, neatly packed up and vanished from her world. No more WeChat messages, no attempts at reconciliation, no more of the usual caring gestures. It was like a pet dog that always wagged its tail and followed her around suddenly stopped responding. Naturally, she would be curious and try to test the waters. To Emma, I was that pet dog. She came to test me because my post-breakup behavior surprised her, to see if I was still within her control. If I had shown even a hint of longing, I was sure she would have quickly lost interest and walked away. My friend said I was overthinking it, but I remained silent. Chapter 10. Emma began to appear in my life frequently after that. It was ironic. After we broke up, she sought me out more often than she had in the last year of our relationship. At first, it was because she found a stuffed bear I had left behind. This was the first birthday gift Emma had given me. Since I had a habit of hugging her while sleeping, an unconscious gesture, she gave me this bear to hold at night. She called and asked, "Do you want to come and get it, or should I bring it to you?" I paused and said, "No, just throw it away." Emma was silent for a long time. Just before she hung up, I added, "If you find anything else of mine, feel free to dispose of it. There's no need to contact me." She didn't respond. That night, Emma called again. I didn't answer the first time, but the phone kept ringing insistently. I sighed and picked up. She was drunk, which surprised me because she usually knew her limits and never got wasted. "You left something at my place," she slurred. I said patiently, "I don't want it. Please throw it away." Also, I hesitated. "Emma, don't call me late at night anymore. I won't answer." She ignored me. "And the necklace, the one designed by Caesar that you like. I bought it, and you forgot to take it." This was the anniversary gift I had mentioned to Emma for our 5th anniversary. 2 weeks before the anniversary, she had asked me what I wanted, which was a surprise because throughout our relationship, I was always the one giving her gifts. I told her I liked a necklace designed by Caesar. It was meaningful because the designer had created it inspired by his 5-year relationship with his boyfriend. Emma had nodded and said okay. But on our 5th anniversary, she not only forgot the necklace, but also the anniversary itself. 3 days later, Lucas returned from the US, and she was busy celebrating his birthday, preparing a gift and a welcome home party for him. And then we broke up. This was why I no longer loved her. It was the accumulation of all these moments. My voice turned cold. "It's too late, Emma." There was a commotion on her end, and someone else took the phone. "Justin, I'm sorry. Emma is drunk," the person apologized. After a moment of hesitation, they asked, "She seems really upset. Is there no chance for you two to get back together?" I hung up the phone. After hanging up, I stared at the ceiling. Saying I was completely unaffected would be a lie. After all, I had truly loved her once. I just sighed at how drastic her change in attitude was. I couldn't reconcile the previously cold Emma with the current one. Her new, found gentleness and thoughtfulness just seemed out of place. Chapter 11. After that phone call, Emma disappeared for a long time. The next time I saw her was 3 months later. We had broken up in early summer, and now it was late autumn, and the weather was getting colder. She was wearing a long black coat, and despite our breakup, I had to admit she was still stunningly beautiful. She was leaning against the gate of my apartment complex, smoking. The period when Lucas and his teacher first went abroad for further study was when she smoked the most. Combined with drinking and staying up late, she had ended up in the hospital. After being discharged, she had subconsciously cut back. I didn't know why she had started smoking again. She heard my footsteps and looked up at me. She looked tired. "Sorry, I know I'm disturbing you, but my mom is coming to City A this weekend, and I haven't told her about our breakup yet." Strangely, although Emma hadn't liked me much during our relationship, her mother was very fond of me. Maybe it was my calm and steady demeanor, which was different from the spoiled people in Emma's social circle. Her mother had a heart condition. I hesitated, and Emma's expression turned pleading. "Just for 2 days. I'll explain everything to her slowly later." I sighed and nodded. Seeing me agree, she seemed to relax and took a step back, surprisingly polite. "Thank you." Before leaving, she handed me a bag. "It's getting cold. You need to take care of your throat." This was an old problem of mine. My throat often got inflamed during the autumn-winter transition. Every year, Emma would have a friend buy me a specific health supplement from Australia, and as long as I took it in advance, it would prevent the issue. I was surprised she still remembered. I held the bag and watched her leave, feeling conflicted. Chapter 12. Emma's mother stayed for 2 days and then left. To avoid raising suspicion, I moved some of my belongings to Emma's place. After her mother left, I started packing up my things. Emma silently followed me around. When I was about to carry my suitcase downstairs, she suddenly grabbed my hand. She looked down, so I couldn't see her expression. "Can't you stay?" she asked. After a pause, she looked up at me, her expression a bit restrained. "There's really nothing between Lucas and me." I admit that when he came back, I felt a bit of a stir, but that was just a normal reaction to someone I used to like. I never thought about being with him. It was my fault for breaking up with you. It won't happen again, Justin. Please give me another chance. I had never seen her like this. Feeling conflicted, I turned to leave. Maybe because I was distracted, I missed a step and fell down the stairs, breaking my calf bone. Emma stayed with me in the hospital, helping me with the admission procedures and taking care of me. When I woke up after the surgery, she was asleep next to my bed. Hospital beds were in short supply, and there were 4 patients in the room. Her body was cramped between the 2 beds, unable to stretch out, looking rather pitiful. Even in her sleep, her brows were furrowed, looking uneasy, and her other hand was still covering mine, as if ready to wake up at a moment's notice if I needed anything. At night, I thought about it and didn't pull my hand away. The anesthesia in my leg was wearing off, and the increasing pain kept me awake. Lying there, I remembered a time long ago. I had just graduated and started working. Carrying the title of a genius graduate, an art gallery investor had invited me to dinner. Being young and naive, I didn't have much caution and thought he genuinely appreciated my talent. It wasn't until he poured me a 3rd drink and put his hand on my shoulder that I realized something was wrong. There was something in the drink, and I felt weak. Later, Emma showed up out of nowhere and smashed a bottle over the investor's head, then took me away. I found out later that she was supposed to go to a concert with friends that night. Emma never used this incident to take credit or hold it against me for causing her to miss the concert she had been looking forward to. For some reason, I suddenly remembered her kindness. In the otherwise arid landscape of our relationship, there had indeed been beautiful moments like these. To be honest, I was starting to waver. Chapter 13. Emma stayed with me in the hospital until I was discharged. I had told her it wasn't necessary, that my friend would come and take care of me. I wanted to sever the ties quickly, but she insisted, feeling partly responsible for my fall. My friend, upon hearing that Emma was there, joked that there was a chance we might get back together and decided not to come to the hospital. The elderly lady in the next bed smiled at us. "Young man, your girlfriend is really considerate. Such good girls are hard to come by these days." I smiled, and when I looked up, I saw Emma standing at the foot of the bed, watching me nervously. After a while, she suddenly smiled, and the smile spread from her eyes to her lips. Even after we were discharged and got into her car, she looked at me and said, "I'm very happy, Justin. Just now, when that lady called me your girlfriend, you didn't deny it." I opened my mouth, but didn't say anything. I just thought it wasn't worth the trouble. We had been together for so long, and explaining to outsiders that she wasn't my girlfriend would only lead to more questions. Besides, she was a young woman, and I didn't want to embarrass her in front of others. Since we were about to part ways, I just wanted to avoid any unnecessary drama. But seeing the smile on her lips, I sighed and remained silent. Emma wanted to rekindle our relationship. If this were the current Emma, I might have been willing to give it a try. Could the love lost in the sands of time really be regained? This thought lingered until Emma took me to her house. I had fallen in a hurry that day, and my luggage was still at her place. Her mother had brought me some dried fish that I liked very much. So after leaving the hospital, we went to her house to pick up my things. When the door opened, I saw Lucas. He was wearing an apron, holding a spatula in one hand, looking every bit the master of the house. He smiled warmly. "Emma, you're back. You said you'd be bringing Justin home from the hospital, so I thought you probably didn't have time to eat. Come on in." And he was wearing the watch that Emma's mother had given me, the one I had left on Emma's bedside table after we broke up. My gaze shifted from the watch to Emma's face, and then I stood at the door and suddenly laughed. It was a laugh of relief and acceptance. At that moment, I knew that Emma and I would never work out, not in this lifetime. Whether it was 5 years ago or 5 years later, when we were together, I was always the odd one out. But it was okay. I didn't care anymore. I stood politely but distantly at the door and declined. "No need. I'm in a hurry to get back. I won't bother you. Then I turned to Emma. I won't go in. Please bring my things out. Thank you. She looked a bit pale, glanced at Lucas, then back at me. I'll explain everything to you later, she said before going inside to get my luggage. I didn't say anything. After she went in, the smile on Lucas's face faded. He looked at me with hostility, like I was an intruder. His smile turned venomous. You won't make me lose the bet, will you? I raised an eyebrow in confusion, and he smiled and explained. The day I came back to China, they said you and Emma had broken up. Emma and her friends all bet that within 3 months, you'd come crawling back. The bet was later extended to 6 months. They all bet you would, but I bet you wouldn't. You won't make me lose, will you? I looked at him and didn't answer. I just said calmly, I don't know if you'll lose your bet, but I do know Emma's friends should win theirs. When your teacher in America dumped you and you had to come back, they bet on whether you'd act all coy and get Emma to take you back. I laughed as I saw his face turn pale. Looks like her friends should be the winners. Just then, Emma came out with my luggage. I took it and smiled. Thanks. No need to see me off. My friend is coming to pick me up, so I won't bother you any further. Finally, I looked at Emma with a relieved smile and said, Emma, if you want me to keep a good memory of you, please don't contact me again. That was the last thing I said to her, the last time I saw her, and also the last kind act she did for me. Chapter 14. 2 years later, I saw Ava at an art exhibition. She was standing in front of my painting of the Wine River. I walked over and stood beside her, looking at it together. After 2 years apart, we didn't engage in idle pleasantries. It was as if we were old friends. She turned her head and smiled at me. I saw the news about your exhibition and decided to come. It's just as amazing as I imagined. She paused, then asked with a smile, after the exhibition, can I invite the artist to dinner? I smiled back. Of course. Time passes, seasons change, the sun sets, and the moon rises. After spring comes summer, then autumn and winter. Life is long, with countless landscapes to behold. You have to experience them for yourself to truly understand. As for what the future holds, you can only find out by living it.